Today we're going to talk about the different types of turns, and we've talked a lot about this, especially when we were discussing off the dribble, but I want to put everything together, and I want to talk about the turns. And there's really two types of turns, and there's what we call deliberate turns, and there's what we call natural turns. And natural turns are anytime pretty much I'm right-handed, I'm going to my left, and that can include shooting off the pass and off the dribble. Now, deliberate turns are anytime I'm going to my right. That also includes, let's say, pin downs where I'm coming up off of a screen. Kind of sounds complicated. We're going to try to simplify as much as possible. So today we're going to look at 7 special players. Kobe Bryant, J.J. Redick, Damian Lillard, Diana Taurasi, Stephen Curry, Carmelo Anthony, and LeBron James. And we're going to watch their feet and their body alignment. Today we're going to focus on angles and how much you need to turn with these 7 great shooters and scorers. Anytime a player pulls up to the left and he's right-handed, the shot becomes easier. You're in a natural turn. See, the body and feet naturally turn usually about 40 to 55 degrees. The last thing that you'd want to do here is square up to the basket. It's defeating the purpose. It will hurt your shot. If you ask most professional and college players which way is easier to pull up, they'll normally say, I love to go to the left. But when you ask them why, most have no clue. They will say, it just feels better. Once again, it's because they are naturally turned. Going to the right for right-handed players is much tougher. The angle is different, and it's harder to align the hip, shoulder, elbow, and release to the basket like going to the left. At Pro Shot, we call this action the deliberate turn. Now the key here is to square the feet to the basket to start the shot, and then turn between 70 and 90 degrees when landing. You need to get the hip and shoulder aligned to the basket. That's the key. The feet will naturally follow. And the further you shoot out, the more you really have to swing the hip and shoulder around. LeBron James likes to go to his left on his pull-up, and he does it a lot. Now, he will go to his right, but he knows what his shot is, what his bread and butter is. It's going to his left. Listen to what LeBron says about this.
Because no matter where I fade from, my elbow is right on the rim. No matter when I turn, it's always on the rim. It's very difficult going right because as a righty, you got to turn so much to get that elbow on the rim. But it doesn't matter for me going left. Always got that elbow on the rim. So it's an easy shot for myself.
So how do you get good at going to the right? Practice and practice, and be aware that you must get the hip, shoulder, and elbow aligned to the basket on landing. Now when Kobe shoots, and he goes to his right, he always fades. This is an advanced move, but it helps him with alignment. We would only suggest this if you're an advanced player. Anytime you're in a one-on-one situation with a defender, you must start squared up to be an offensive threat. So how do you shoot accurately in this situation? Once again, you land 70 to 90 degrees. This will give you more power and greater alignment on the shot. So what about shooting off the pass? Let's take notes. When you're right-handed and catching from the left, your feet are generally naturally turned. You don't need to square up here. Once again, this occurs when you are catching the pass and the pass is to the left of the perimeter. We would estimate you want your feet to be about 40 to 60 degrees here. This is definitely a natural turn shot. Some players may land at 70 and 90 degrees to achieve more power. When catching off of a pass, when the passer is to your right, you have to square and turn usually between 70 and 90 degrees. You need much more power on the shot. And you need to make sure that you align the hip and shoulder, especially as you go up into the shot and you land. When the ball is kicked out, that is when the post passes it out, or the player penetrates a key and passes it to a perimeter shooter. What do you do? Well, it really is all about the shooter. You see, some players start with their feet 40 to 60 degrees when receiving the kickout. Others, like Carmelo Anthony, start squared and then turn greatly in the air, landing 70 and 90 degrees. If you notice with Melo, he uses great hip turn on his shot. More hip turn gives you more power. Players need to see what works best for them in regards to the kickout and alignment. Each player is different. Experiment and see what works best for you. Hopefully this video helps players and trainers to understand what alignment is and how much you should turn. And we hope we didn't confuse anyone out there. If you want to keep it simple, remember this. When you land, you must have your release, your elbow, your shoulder, and your hip aligned to the basket. This is just not for NBA and WNBA players. Alignment is for everyone, including younger players. Being aligned to the basket keeps your shot straight and can actually give you more power thanks to the hip and shoulder pulling around. Being aligned just makes sense.